All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, looking forward to this one.
Me too.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about
Becoming our future selves.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at some excerpts from Dr. Benjamin Hardy's book, Be Your Future Self Now.
Right. And sort of looking at this idea of how to take action in the present
Mm,
to kind of become that person we want to be in the future.
I'm so excited about this topic. You know, I've tried to manifest things before, like with vision boards and things like that. And I feel like this concept is kind of similar, but just like way more action oriented.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, actually.
Yeah.
It's not just about sort of like daydreaming about this ideal future self.
Right.
It's really about taking concrete steps now to bridge that gap between where you are and where you want to be.
So how do we even begin to do that?
Well, the book talks a lot about the power of visualization.
Okay.
And, you probably heard of athletes using visualization to improve their performance. Like,
Yeah.
imagine themselves like making that winning shot.
Right, right.
So we're saying basically apply that same principle to other areas of your life.
Oh, okay. So instead of just picturing yourself on a beach in Bali, 5 years from now,
Right.
you're actually envisioning yourself embodying the qualities and habits that would get you there.
Exactly. Yeah, you're imagining yourself like making healthy choices, being productive, whatever it is that aligns with that future self that you want to become.
I love that. Okay. So it's about changing your mindset
Yeah.
and really believing that you can become that person.
Exactly. And that belief is so crucial because it actually starts to influence your actions. When you have a clear vision of who you want to be, you're more likely to make choices that support that vision.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. And I can see how that could be really motivating too.
Yeah.
If you're constantly reminding yourself of who you want to become, it's easier to stay on track, especially when things get tough or you're tempted to slip back into old habits.
Absolutely. And the book really emphasizes the importance of letting go of the past as well,
Really?
like shedding those old identities and limiting beliefs that no longer serve you.
I'm curious about this part because while I totally get that dwelling on past mistakes can hold you back, isn't there also a risk of just sweeping things under the rug?
That's a really good point. I think it's not about denying the past or pretending it didn't happen.
Okay.
It's more about reframing it as a learning experience.
Yeah.
Acknowledging those experiences and the lessons they taught you, and then consciously choosing to move forward with a new identity that's aligned with where you want to go.
I like that. So it's not about ignoring the past, but using it as fuel to propel you forward.
Precisely.
Okay, so we talked about visualization, letting go of the past, and I'm assuming the next step is actually taking action, right?
Absolutely. The book is full of practical advice on how to bridge that gap between thinking and doing.
Okay, awesome. Because that's always the hardest part for me.
Right. So one technique that really stood out to me was this idea of time boxing.
Time boxing. What is that?
So it's essentially dedicating specific blocks of time in your schedule to work on your goals.
Oh, okay.
Like you literally block it out in your calendar, just like you would a meeting or an appointment.
So it's like making a commitment to your future self.
Exactly. You're saying, hey, this is important to me. I'm going to prioritize it and actually make time for it.
I love that because it makes it way less likely that you'll just push it off until later.
Exactly. It becomes a non-negotiable part of your day.
So it's kind of like you're scheduling a meeting with your future self.
That's a great way to put it.
I like that.
Yeah.
And apart from time boxing, are there any other tips on how to set goals and actually make progress on them?
Yeah, the book stresses the importance of setting realistic goals, ones that are challenging but also attainable given your current circumstances.
That makes sense because if you set the bar too high, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment.
Exactly. And it's also about breaking those bigger goals down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Oh, okay.
So it's not so overwhelming. You have this clear roadmap of how to get there.
Okay, so it's all about finding that balance between dreaming big and staying grounded in reality.
Exactly. It's about having that vision, but also being practical about the steps you need to take to get there.
Okay, this all makes sense to me, but I do have one question.
Yeah.
If we're constantly focusing on the future, could that make us dissatisfied with the present?
That's a really valid concern. And I think it's important to remember that the goal isn't to detach from the present moment or put your life on hold until you reach some idealized future state.
Okay.
It's about bringing that future vision into the present moment, using it as a guiding force to inform your decisions and actions today.
Right, so it's not about ignoring the present, but rather aligning your present actions with your future aspirations.
Exactly. And like any self-help approach, I think it's crucial to apply these ideas with a critical mind and adapt them to your own unique circumstances.
Right. What works for one person might not work for another. So ultimately, this book, Be Your Future Self, now it sounds like it's giving us a framework for personal growth, encouraging us to become the architects of our own lives.
I think that's a great summary. It's about taking ownership of your future and realizing that you have the power to shape it.
It really does sound empowering.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest takeaway for me is that it's not about waiting for the future to happen, but rather creating it.
Exactly. And it leaves us with this really interesting question to ponder.
Okay.
How might actively shaping your future self impact your choices and your overall trajectory?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's something worth reflecting on as we move forward.
Definitely. And on that note, this has been a great deep dive.
Yeah, agree.
If this concept has sparked your curiosity, I highly recommend checking out the book and exploring these ideas further.
Couldn't agree more.
Until next time, everyone, thanks for listening.